Stop scrolling. This isn't random. This is for you. If there's a Susan B. Anthony $1 coin anywhere near you right now, and the date ends in a 3, do not spend it. Because here's what most people don't understand. Susan B. Anthony dollars don't look rare. They blend in. They feel ordinary. That's the illusion. While the public ignores them, serious collectors pay attention. They study dates, mint marks, condition, subtle variations most people never notice. And when the right example shows up, the bidding isn't casual. It's deliberate, competitive, aggressive. Auction numbers appear that surprise outsiders. Prices that only make sense if you understand the details. And no one is rushing to educate everyone else. Why? Because knowledge creates advantage, and advantage creates opportunity. So don't dismiss it. Don't assume it's just another dollar. Check your wallet. Check your change jar. Check right now. Because from here, this only gets rarer, more surprising, and more valuable. Stay until the end. This is Numismatic Vault Extra, USA, United States. And today, we prove something simple. Ordinary coins aren't always ordinary. Fire. The 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar, the small coin that carried a giant legacy. In the vast story of American money, some coins arrive quietly, yet carry the thunder of change within them. The 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar is one of those remarkable creations. Small in size but bold in meaning. It was struck at a moment when the United States was redefining its identity, its economy, and even the faces it chose to honor in metal. The year 1979 was not a calm year in American history. Inflation weighed heavily on families, fuel prices climbed, and uncertainty filled headlines. Yet amid that tension, something historic happened inside the minting presses of Denver. A woman's portrait would appear on a circulating U.S. dollar coin for the first time. Susan B. Anthony was not a president, not a general, but a voice of reform and equality. Her presence on the coin symbolized courage and the long struggle for women's rights. When the Denver Mint stamped a D beneath the date, it marked not just location, but participation in a cultural milestone. The coin itself was unlike the large silver dollars Americans remembered. It was smaller, lighter, and made from a modern copper-nickel composition rather than precious silver. Yet its appearance carried echoes of older dollar coins that once rang with metallic weight in the pockets of another generation. When it first entered circulation, many people were unsure how to feel. Its size was similar to a quarter, leading to confusion. Yet beyond practical challenges, the coin stood as a bold experiment, an attempt to modernize currency and honor a reformer whose influence reshaped American democracy. The Denver Mint worked at full speed in 1979, producing millions of these dollars to meet expectations of widespread use. Freshly struck, they shone with brilliant surfaces and sharp detail, carrying Anthony's determined expression and the proud American eagle on the reverse. Though not made of silver, the coin still carried symbolic weight. It represented equality, courage, and progress. In that sense, its value could not be measured only in metal, but in meaning. Most 1979 D dollars quickly entered circulation. They traveled through vending machines, banks, grocery stores, and public transit systems. Many were worn down, scratched, and spent without ceremony. Because so many were used heavily, high-quality examples with strong detail and clean surfaces gradually became more appreciated by collectors. Condition, as always in coin collecting, tells its own story. The late 1970s marked a shift in American coinage philosophy. Precious metals had long vanished from everyday circulation, and practicality replaced tradition. The Susan B. Anthony dollar belongs to this transition. Its historical importance lies in representation. For generations, U.S. coinage largely honored presidents and male leaders. The choice of Susan B. Anthony signaled recognition of civic activism and reform. The D mint mark quietly connects the coin to Denver's long tradition of coin production, a facility that has served the nation through war, depression, and prosperity. Over time, public opinion softened. What was once considered an awkward experiment began to feel historic. The coin became a symbol of a turning point. Collectors today see the 1979 D dollar as part of a larger narrative about change, equality, and economic modernization. Holding one today feels different than holding it in 1979. Time has added perspective. It is no longer just a coin, it is a milestone. Its surfaces, whether worn or preserved, reflect the journeys it has taken. Every mark tells a story of movement. The Susan B. Anthony Dollar series was relatively short-lived compared to other designs, which adds to its historical charm. The coin reminds us that progress often arrives quietly, without dramatic fanfare, but with lasting impact. While it may not be made of silver, its cultural value shines brighter than metal. It represents a nation willing to evolve. In the end, the 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony Dollar is more than currency. It is a statement in metal, a reminder that even the smallest coin can carry the weight of history, equality, and transformation. Next up, in the story of American money, few modern coins carry a spirit of determination quite like the 1980 P. Susan B. Anthony Dollar. At first glance, it may seem like an ordinary piece of metal, modest in size and simple in appearance. Yet behind that small circle lies a chapter of bold experimentation, social progress, and economic adjustment. When the Philadelphia Mint struck the P. Mint mark onto these dollars in 1980, it was not merely producing currency. It was continuing a national conversation about representation, practicality, and the evolving face of American coinage. To understand the 1980 P issue, one must return to the late 1970s, when the United States was navigating economic uncertainty. Inflation weighed heavily on households, energy crises tested patience, and the cost of living climbed steadily. The government sought efficiency in many areas, including currency production. The idea of a smaller, lightweight dollar coin had already taken shape the year before, and 1980 represented the second full year of that bold experiment. The Susan B. Anthony Dollar itself was historic from its beginning. For the first time in circulating United States coinage, a real woman, not a symbolic figure, not liberty personified, but a historical reformer, appeared on a standard coin. Susan B. Anthony's determined profile looked forward with quiet strength, honoring decades of activism for women's voting rights. Her image signaled recognition that the American story includes voices that fought persistently for equality. The Philadelphia Mint, unlike some earlier decades, proudly included its P. Mint mark on circulating coins during this era. That small letter beneath the date anchors the $1,980 to a specific place and workforce. Inside the mint, presses thundered with mechanical rhythm, striking planchets of copper-nickel-clad composition into finished dollars destined for banks across the nation. Though not made of silver, these coins carried the bright sheen and solid feel of modern engineering. Public reaction, however, was mixed. The coin size closely resembled the quarter, leading to confusion in daily transactions. Vending machines and cash drawers became accidental testing grounds for the new design. Many Americans found themselves checking carefully before making change. Yet this very challenge added character to the coin story. It became a symbol of how innovation often meets resistance before acceptance. The reverse of the coin carried a soaring eagle design adapted from earlier space-age imagery, symbolizing exploration and national ambition. Paired with Anthony's portrait, the design connected past reform with future aspiration. In 1980, America stood at the edge of technological transformation, and the dollar coin quietly reflected that forward-looking spirit. Millions of 1980 P dollars entered circulation, moving quickly through grocery stores, transit systems, and financial institutions. They were practical tools meant for daily commerce, not treasured heirlooms. Most experienced the wear of constant handling, edges dulled, surfaces scratched, and original luster faded beneath the friction of real life. Their very purpose was movement. Yet time changes perspective. Coins that once seemed ordinary begin to carry nostalgia. As paper dollars remained dominant and the Susan B. Anthony series was eventually paused, the surviving coins took on new identity. They became reminders of a short but significant chapter in U.S. minting history, a period when the nation experimented with its currency in bold ways. Collectors today often emphasize condition. A well-preserved 1980 P dollar, still showing crisp detail in the hair strands and eagle feathers, stands apart from heavily worn examples. Its surfaces may retain mint brilliance, reflecting the moment it left the dies decades ago. Such preservation feels almost accidental, as though the coin escaped the busy rhythm of commerce. It is important, however, to understand reality alongside imagination. Despite dramatic rumors that circulate in conversations or on social media, standard 1980 pesos and B. Anthony dollars are not composed of silver and are not inherently rare. Their composition is a copper core bonded with nickel layers, designed for durability and affordability. Their value in ordinary circulated condition typically remains modest, tied closely to face value. That said, certain extraordinary examples can command strong collector interest. Coins preserved in exceptional uncirculated grades, or pieces with distinctive minting anomalies, may achieve higher prices in specialized markets. The excitement comes not from guaranteed overnight fortune, but from the thrill of discovering quality, rarity of condition, or unusual striking characteristics. The emotional power of the coin rests more in its symbolism than in its metal. Holding a 1980 pesos and B. Anthony dollar connects one to a time when the United States honored civic courage in a new way. It reflects the decades-long struggle for voting rights and equal representation, reminding us that social change eventually leaves its mark even on everyday objects. In the broader timeline of American coinage, the Susan B. Anthony series occupies a brief, yet meaningful chapter. It bridged the gap between large silver dollars of the past and later golden-colored dollar coins that would follow. It tested public habits and challenged assumptions about what a dollar should look like. The Philadelphia Mint mark also represents continuity. Through wars, depressions, and prosperity, that facility has remained central to American coin production. Each 1980 P dollar carries the silent imprint of skilled workers and industrial precision operating within that historic institution. As decades pass, fewer pristine examples remain. Coins are lost, damaged, or tucked away in forgotten drawers. Each disappearance subtly reduces the population of high-quality survivors. This natural attrition gradually enhances collector appreciation for the best-preserved pieces. When people speak of coins changing fortunes overnight, they often blend hope with myth. True wealth in coin collecting usually grows from knowledge, patience, and careful study rather than sudden discovery. The 1980 P dollar teaches this lesson gently. It invites curiosity about history and design rather than promising instant riches. Still, there is undeniable excitement in examining old coins. One might hold a piece and wonder where it has traveled, whose hands it passed through, which cash registers it visited, what moments of ordinary life it quietly funded. The human connection gives the coin emotional value beyond numbers. The Susan B. Anthony dollar also represents a broader cultural shift of the late 20th century. It marked recognition that leadership and courage are not limited by gender. In that sense, its importance transcends monetary considerations. It stands as a metallic acknowledgement of social progress. For those who preserve a sharp, brilliant 1980 P example, the reward is often historical pride rather than billionaire status. The coin becomes part of a curated narrative, a reminder of America's willingness to experiment and to expand its circle of honor. In the end, the 1980 P. Susan B. Anthony dollar is a testament to resilience and representation. It may not be silver, and it may not guarantee unimaginable wealth, but it carries a story forged in a time of economic challenge and cultural evolution. Its true power lies not in transforming fortunes overnight, but in reminding us that history often hides in everyday next up. In the long and fascinating journey of American coinage, few modern coins have sparked as much conversation, confusion, hope, and curiosity as the 1979 P. Susan B. Anthony dollar. At first glance, it may appear small and ordinary, almost modest compared to the grand silver dollars of earlier generations, yet its story carries the weight of social change, economic experimentation, and national symbolism. When the Philadelphia Mint placed the P Mint mark beneath the date in 1979, it marked more than a production location. It marked a turning point in the identity of American currency. The late 1970s were years of tension and transformation in the United States. Inflation had strained household budgets, energy crises filled news headlines, and Americans were adjusting to a rapidly shifting economic landscape. The government searched for ways to make currency production more efficient, and part of that effort included rethinking the $1 denomination. Paper dollars wore out quickly and required constant replacement. A durable coin, officials believed, could serve longer and reduce long-term costs. But practicality was only part of the story. The selection of Susan B. Anthony for the obverse design was historic. For the first time in circulating U.S. coinage, a real woman, an activist who had fought tirelessly for voting rights, would appear on a standard coin. Her portrait represented determination, reform, and the long struggle for equality. Placing her image on a dollar signaled recognition that American history is shaped not only by presidents and generals, but also by voices of civic courage. The Philadelphia Mint in 1979 stood as the original heart of American coin production, operating with decades of accumulated expertise. Inside its walls, massive presses struck planchets composed of copper-nickel-clad metal into finished coins. Contrary to widespread rumors, these coins were not struck in silver for general circulation. Their outer layers were nickel bonded to a copper core, giving them a bright, silvery appearance, but not precious metal content. When the 1979 P. Susan B. Anthony dollar entered circulation, public reaction was immediate and divided. Many Americans found the coin confusing because its size closely resembled the quarter. Cashiers, commuters, and vending machine operators struggled to distinguish between the two. In daily commerce, this similarity created hesitation and, at times, frustration. Yet that very controversy etched the coin deeply into public memory. Freshly struck examples carried sharp detail. Anthony's hair strands appeared crisp, the lettering bold, and the reverse design, featuring a proud eagle landing on the moon, symbolized American ambition during the space age. The reverse motif linked the coin to national achievement, echoing the spirit of exploration that had defined the previous decade. Millions upon millions of 1979 P dollars were produced. They flowed through banks, grocery stores, transportation systems, and public institutions. They were never meant to be rare treasures. They were practical tools of commerce. As a result, most saw heavy use. Surfaces dulled, edges nicked, and luster faded under constant handling. Yet within such mass production lies the subtle intrigue of coin collecting. Not every coin leaves the mint in identical condition. Some are struck with slightly stronger detail. Some retain cleaner surfaces. A small portion escapes circulation altogether, preserved in rolls or tucked into drawers. These survivors become time capsules, frozen in the moment of their creation. Over the decades, perspective has softened early criticism. What was once seen as an awkward experiment now appears as a bold step in representation. The 1979 P dollar marked the beginning of a broader movement toward honoring diverse figures in American history through coinage. It is important, however, to address reality with clarity. Standard 1979 P. Susan B. Anthony dollars are not rare in circulated condition, and they are not composed of silver. Their market value typically remains close to face value unless they are in exceptional uncirculated grades or possess unusual minting characteristics. Stories of instant billionaire wealth are powerful and exciting, but they rarely align with the true economics of modern coinage. That does not mean the coin lacks importance. Its value is layered. Historically, it represents social recognition and monetary reform. Culturally, it stands as a reminder of the women's suffrage movement and the expanding narrative of American leadership. Collectively, these elements give the coin depth beyond metal. Condition remains the key factor in collector demand. Coins graded in pristine, uncirculated states, showing full mint luster and sharp detail, can command premiums compared to worn examples. The thrill for collectors lies in discovering such quality, not in assuming every example is a hidden fortune. The Philadelphia Mint mark also connects the coin to the oldest federal mint facility in the nation. That P beneath the date symbolizes craftsmanship rooted in tradition. Through wars, economic upheaval, and periods of prosperity, the Philadelphia Mint has remained central to American coin production. As years pass, attrition gradually reduces the number of high-grade survivors. Coins are spent, damaged, or lost. This natural reduction creates subtle shifts in availability. While not transforming the coin into a legendary rarity, Time does enhance appreciation for well-preserved pieces. The emotional power of holding a 1979 P. Susan B. Anthony dollar lies in its symbolism. It represents resilience and reform. It connects the holder to decades of activism that reshaped American democracy. That narrative weight often feels more substantial than the coin's physical mass. In the broader timeline of U.S. currency, the Susan B. Anthony series occupies a short but meaningful chapter. It bridged the gap between the large silver dollars of the past and the golden-colored dollar coins that followed years later. Its introduction marked experimentation and willingness to adapt. For those who search pocket change, hoping for unimaginable wealth, the lesson of this coin is subtle. True numismatic value emerges from knowledge, patience, and understanding of condition and rarity. Dramatic fortune stories capture attention, but sustainable appreciation comes from study and realism. Even so, there is undeniable magic in examining old coins. One can imagine the countless hands that passed this dollar across counters, through transit systems, and into savings jars. Each mark and scratch is a silent record of ordinary American life. Ultimately, the 1979 P. Susan B. Anthony dollar is not a guaranteed path to overnight riches, nor is it a hidden silver treasure waiting to create billionaires. Its true significance lies in history, representation, and the evolving face of American money. It reminds us that value is not always measured in precious metal or market hype. Sometimes the most enduring worth comes from the story a coin tells, a story of courage, change, and a nation willing to honor progress in the smallest, most tangible way.